Hello judges, this is Team Gen Y and we are here to present a solution on the problem statement 10 titled Using Generative AI for Attack Prediction and Remediation. Right now, the industry has a major problem. That is, security tools are almost reactive, meaning they only alert you after a hacker has made their move. This problem really caught our attention to solve it. So here's presenting PreEmpt 3, a three-layer AI pipeline that shifts cybersecurity from reactive to predictive. It continuously ingests threat intelligence, vulnerability data, and network topology to score attack vectors before exploitation instead of tackling it individually. When risks cross a threshold, an autonomous LLM-based red team agent probes the organization's own defenses using real MITRE attack techniques, that is, finding gaps before real advisories do. The moment a confirmed threat is detected, GenAI instantly produces a remediation playbook, patch list, and root cause analysis report, cutting lead time to respond from hours to just under 5 minutes. Now, how it addresses the problem? It also simulates attack scenarios using reactive. Preamp directly delivers every single requirement in a single integrated pipeline that is threat intelligence, vulnerability data, and network topology to score attack vectors in a single pipeline. Lastly, coming to innovation and uniqueness, Preamp is the first system to combine three capabilities. First, predictive ML threat scoring using graph neural networks on live CVE data. Secondly, an autonomous LLM red team agent guided by the full MITRE Attack Enterprise TTP library. And thirdly, Gen AI generated structured remediation output grounded via RAG to prevent hallucination. No comparable open or commercial unified solution for this exists till today. Moving on to outline of unique and innovation solution.
So let's walk through each of the four layers. Preempt has, so let's start with layer one, which is predict. We ingest the NVD CVE database, which has over 2 lakh vulnerabilities, enrich each one with CVSS scores and exploit availability flags and run it through a XGBoost classifier. But here's what makes this different from standard vulnerability scanners. We also run a graph neural network over the organization's entire network topology. Instead of scoring individual CVEs, we score full attack chains. The sequence of vulnerabilities an attacker would chain together to move laterally across your network. Output is a per asset risk score from 0 to 100, updated every hour. Layer 2 is simulate. When an asset crosses the risk threshold, we automatically trigger an autonomous AI red team agent built on LangChain, armed with the complete Bitter Attack Enterprise TTP library, which has 14 tactics, 196 techniques, 411 sub-techniques. This agent probes your own defenses against a sandbox digital twin of your network. It behaves like a real adversary, chaining techniques, pivoting on success, finding the exploitable paths. No human in the loop, no annual pen test, scheduled 6 months from now. Continuous, automated, and real. Let's move on to layer 3, which is remediate. The moment the red team agent returns its findings, our Gen AI engine generates a complete incident response package, which is step-by-step remediation playbook with owner assignments, prioritized patch list with CVE IDs and CVSS scores, configuration hardening list, a regulatory ready root cause analysis report. And here's what makes this production safe. We use a RAG pipeline grounded to NVD CVE remediation records, Microsoft MSRC advisories, and CIS benchmarks. The AI cannot hallucinate a remediation step. Everything is grounded to verified sources. Layer 4 is monitor, a unified SOC dashboard with a real-time threat map, role-based views for CISOs and SOC analysts, and one-click compliance export for ISO 27001, NIST CSF, and RBI cybersecurity framework. Let's move on to the technical approach.
The most important thing to note about our stack is that it relies entirely on open source infrastructure. We aren't building an isolated tool. We are building an automated pipeline. Here's how the data actually flows. First, our Python backend constantly pulls public national vulnerability database feeds and structures the network topology into a Neo4j graph database. When our ML model flags a high risk node in that graph, it automatically triggers the LangChain agent. The orchestration here is seamless. The moment the Gen AI engine generates the remediation playbook, it doesn't just sit in a PDF. Our fast API backend packages that playbook and pushes it via REST webhooks directly into the bank's existing SIEM or SOAR dashboards, like Spunk or QRadar. We aren't asking banks to rip and replace their entire security infrastructure. We are plugging directly into it and feeding them faster, predictive data. Moving on to the feasibility and impacts. First, from a cost perspective, there is a zero vendor lock in. We rely entirely on public frameworks like Mitre attacks and so open source tools, meaning the user don't doesn't have to pay massive licensing fees to get this running. Second, we have solved the biggest hurdle for banks: safe testing. We don't need the live classified network data to prove this works. We use synthetic generator to create a highly realistic digital twin, letting our AI simulate attacks with zero risk to the actual infrastructure. Finally, we prioritize control to prevent AI hallucinations. Our system strictly pulls from verified NVD records. Most importantly, the AI is a co-pilot, not an autopilot. Nothing executes on your network without a human SOC analyst's final approval. Moving on to the impact and benefits.
So, starting with the impact and benefits, our core idea is simple: make cybersecurity faster, proactive, and less manual. First, proactive breach prevention. We score and mitigate vulnerabilities before they're exploited, reducing the exposure window from weeks to just hours. Next, automated RCA reports. What usually takes days is reduced to under 10 minutes with compliance ready formats for RBI and certain. We also enable continuous red teaming. Instead of expensive annual pen testing, we simulate attacks continuously, 24 by 7. And finally, to reduce SOC alert fatigue, we use AI to filter out noise and show only high confidence alerts, so analysts focus on real threats. Looking at the broader impact, we're protecting millions of banking customers by securing core financial systems. This also strengthens national cyber resilience since PSBs hold a major share of India's banking assets. The same model can extend to other critical sectors like hospitals, power grids, and railways. By preventing breaches early, we also reduce the huge economic cost of cybercrime in India. And with open and accessible components, even smaller organizations can adopt this. Now, coming to how we monetize and scale this. Our primary model is SaaS subscription, priced based on assets, making it simple and scalable. For regulated sectors, we offer enterprise on-prem deployment with licensing and full compliance. We also generate revenue through professional services like onboarding, tuning, and integrations. For go-to-market, we start with PSB pilots and validation in the first phase. Then expand to more banks, launch our SaaS platform, and target regulatory empanelment. Next, we scale through APIs and expand into sectors like healthcare and government. In terms of market, this is a large and growing space, with AI-powered cyber security already a multi-billion-dollar segment. And in India alone, banking security spend is in thousands of crores annually. So overall, we're building a scalable, prevention-first cybersecurity platform with strong impact and clear monetization. So that was our solution. Hope you like it. Thank you.